Hi friends, I'm Michael. I'm going to tell you a true story. If you've heard this story before, please let me know in the comments. Let's get started. The mission that wasn't supposed to survive. April 13th, 1970. 3 American astronauts were flying towards the moon. Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert, Fred Haise. Everything seemed normal. Then, about 200,000 miles from Earth, boom! The spacecraft suddenly shook. Warning lights started flashing. And then came the words that would become famous around the world. Houston, we've had a problem here. One oxygen tank had exploded. The spacecraft was losing oxygen. It was losing power. And without those systems, the astronauts might not make it home. The moon landing was immediately abandoned. But now, NASA had a much bigger problem. How do you bring 3 men home in a spacecraft that was never designed for this emergency? Mission Control had almost no time to waste. The astronauts moved into the Lunar Module, a spacecraft designed to land 2 men on the moon, not keep 3 men alive for days in space. NASA engineers worked around the clock. They had to conserve power, save oxygen, control carbon dioxide, and calculate a completely different route home. One mistake could mean 3 astronauts never seeing Earth again. The Lunar Module became their lifeboat. They used the moon's gravity to help send the spacecraft back toward Earth. For days, millions of Americans watched and waited. Then, on April 17th, after nearly 6 days in space, the Apollo 13 command module entered Earth's atmosphere. For a few terrifying minutes, communication was lost. Then, the capsule appeared. It splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean. Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert, Fred Haise. All 3 were alive. They never landed on the moon, but they accomplished something NASA never planned for. They survived a mission that had suddenly become a fight to get home. Apollo 13 was later called a successful failure because the mission failed to land on the moon, but succeeded at something far more important: bringing the crew home. And that's what makes Apollo 13 unforgettable. Sometimes, winning doesn't mean completing the mission you started. Sometimes winning means changing the mission when everything goes wrong and getting everyone home. Thanks for watching.